From the moment Simon Cowell burst into mainstream television, he didn't just judge contestants, he defined pop culture. Known for his brutally honest critiques and signature eye rolls, Cowell became a household name across continents. Behind the sarcasm and sharp tongue was a man who built an empire. One audition, one television show, and one unforgettable moment at a time. Shows like American Idol, The X Factor, and Britain's Got Talent weren't just ratings juggernauts, they were talent pipelines, responsible for launching global superstars. Yet while the spotlight often captured his scowl, it rarely paused long enough to reveal the complexities beneath. Off camera, Simon's life was anything but scripted. It included financial chaos, career nosedives, profound personal losses, and life-altering accidents. And yet, through it all, he evolved from a feared media mogul to a father, a philanthropist, and a man grappling with his legacy. This isn't just about the millions he earned. It's about the message he's sending by what and who he's leaving it all to. Stick around, because this is the story of how Simon Cowell leaves behind a fortune that makes fans cry. How Simon Cowell built his million-dollar empire. Long before Simon Cowell became the kingmaker of modern music television, he was just another face in the entertainment industry, one on the verge of obscurity. Born on October 7, 1959 in Lambeth, London, Simon grew up in Elstree, Hertfordshire, the son of EMI music executive Eric Cowell and former ballet dancer Julie Brett. Despite having family ties in the business, his path to success was far from guaranteed. After dropping out of school and bouncing between dead-end jobs, Simon landed a mailroom position at EMI, an early low point that laid the groundwork for his comeback. By the early 1980s, he co-founded Fanfare Records. The label's big break came in 1985 with Sunita's hit So Macho, which peaked at number 2 on the UK charts and stayed for 28 weeks, earning gold certification. But the elation was short-lived. Fanfare collapsed in 1989, leaving Simon bankrupt at the age of 30 and forced to move back in with his parents. He once admitted, "I owed the bank nearly £500,000. I was on paper bankrupt." That rock-bottom moment, he later revealed, energized him. "I was shedding all the rubbish. I hate clutter." Re-emerging from bankruptcy, Cowell secured an A&R consultant role at BMG. Here, he built his reputation by signing acts like Westlife and Robson and Jerome, whose cover of Unchained Melody held the UK #1 spot for 7 weeks in 1995. This is proof of Simon's ear for commercial gold. The true turning point came in 2001 when he joined Pop Idol in the UK, showcasing his sharp tongue and candid critiques on screen. This success spawned American Idol in 2002, which catapulted him into global fame. With blunt honesty and his trademark, "I don't mean to be rude, but," he became the judge people loved to hate. The show averaged 30 million viewers at its peak and introduced stars like Kelly Clarkson and Carrie Underwood. In 2005, Cowell founded Psycho Entertainment after launching Psycho Music, formerly known as S Records, in 2002, later selling a stake to Sony. Psycho became a talent factory, propelling One Direction, Susan Boyle, Leona Lewis, and Little Mix to stardom. By 2025, the X Factor and Got Talent franchises reached over 70 countries. Naturally, the wealth followed. As of mid-2025, Simon Cowell's net worth is estimated at around $600 million, with annual income ranging from $50 million to $100 million, including up to $45 million per season on America's Got Talent. Forbes and Celebrity Net Worth confirm his position among the richest and most powerful figures in entertainment. Despite this meteoric rise, Cowell remains grounded. On the Diary of a CEO podcast in 2024, he reflected, "I thought everything was just going to be wonderful, and then it all came crashing down." He credits his comeback to resilience and his willingness to learn, rebuild, and evolve. Simon Cowell didn't just survive bankruptcy, he rewrote the rulebook on reality television, built a music and talent empire, and transformed himself from a mailroom clerk into one of the most influential people in entertainment. But as we'll see next, that wealth and power came with steep personal costs. Loneliness, controversy, and a sense that maybe he had paid too high a price. Yet behind the cameras, Simon Cowell has also quietly evolved as a father and philanthropist. Since the birth of his son Eric in 2014, he's spoken openly about how fatherhood changed him. "Everything is about Eric now. I used to be all about work, but now I work so I can spend time with him," he said in an interview. He's donated millions to children's charities, supported animal rights causes, and even adopted a plant-based diet for health reasons. These private choices suggest a man not just chasing fame, but finally defining what really matters. Simon Cowell's scandal, fatherhood, and redemption. By the early 2010s, Simon Cowell had become the face of reality TV, earning up to $75 million a year from shows like American Idol, The X Factor, and Britain's Got Talent, while launching careers of global icons such as One Direction, Leona Lewis, and Susan Boyle. Yet beneath the polished veneer, a personal storm was brewing, and one that would redefine his life. In 2013, Cowell's world tilted when news broke that he and his friend's wife, Lauren Silverman, were expecting a child. The affair made headlines. Andrew Silverman filed for divorce, and tabloids speculated harshly. In a candid admission, Cowell confessed, "It is not something I am proud of or wanted to happen in terms of hurting anyone. It just happened. You have to deal with it and man up to it." Then came February 14th, 2014, Valentine's Day, when Cowell and Silverman welcomed their son, Eric. Suddenly, Simon's priorities shifted. "Eric came out of it, and he changed my life. Maybe he even saved it," he shared. In interviews, he revealed that after losing both parents, his father in 1999 and mother in 2015, Eric's arrival pulled him from a deep emotional spiral. "I was desperately unhappy. I was a ridiculous workaholic until the birth of my son Eric changed everything," he said to People. Cowell immersed himself in fatherhood. Late-night feedings, bedtime stories, Lego building sessions, all while publicly acknowledging that this shift was transformative. "Before Eric, my life was 99% work. I was obsessed with it," he admitted. His decisions began factoring in what Eric and his friends might enjoy, making his judging perspective more inclusive and empathetic. Even fellow judge Howie Mandel recognized Eric's influence, remarking, "You'll hear it in a lot of his judging. Would my son like that?" Simon's lifestyle adjusted to his son's rhythms. He traded late-night calls for early bedtimes, chain-smoking for quieter mornings. His fear of technology's impact on youth surfaced during an ITV This Morning interview. "I'm very worried about how much kids can see at a certain age." He also emphasized passing on respect and manners, saying, "Manners make the man, respect other people." Today, Cowell's family life outlined in book deals and red carpet cameos reflects his changed perspective. He's building a legacy not just of fame, but of father-son connection. As he told People, "Being a dad is the best thing that ever happened to me." And Eric has filled what his parents' deaths emptied. Now, as Eric grows older, Cowell continues to evolve alongside him. He has openly discussed wanting to be around for as long as possible, even overhauling his health by going vegan and committing to daily walks and workouts after a serious electric bike accident in 2020 left him with a broken back. "I was so embarrassed about getting that unfit," he told The Sun, adding that the incident became a wake-up call not just for himself, but for the kind of father he wanted to be. His focus now is less on television domination and more on stability, presence, and setting an example. While Simon Cowell may never lose his sharp tongue or showbiz instincts, it's clear that behind the scenes, he's a man reshaped, not by fame, but by fatherhood. How Simon Cowell's scars became symbols of strength, humility, and renewal. Simon Cowell's persona once radiated dominance, sharp suits, sharper tongue, unwavering confidence. But in the summer of 2020, everything changed. During what was meant to be a routine test ride in his Malibu courtyard, Cowell crashed off an electric bike and shattered his back in multiple places. He endured a 6-hour surgery, which involved fusing his spine and inserting metal rods, a procedure that nearly cost him the ability to walk, let alone chase his son on the pitch. The accident forced him into silence and therapy, from physical rehabilitation to confronting mental health struggles. I considered therapy. I was very, very, very low, he later said at the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards. This was a man who depended on control over his image, his productions, his voice. Suddenly, he was in a hospital bed. He later confessed that he had lacked awareness of his own fitness. I didn't know how unfit I was until I had to do all this stuff afterwards. He likened the recovery to a rebirth. Muscle pain, nerve damage, fear that he might not run again, let alone teach Eric how to ride a bike. Just as the world watched, in 2022 he endured another crash, this time in London. Though less severe, it shook him deeply. Whether by fate or design, Simon's injuries coincided with the downfall of his outward image, something he'd been chasing off camera as much as on. He'd experimented with Botox, fillers, and even thread lifts. But after a startling realization, his young son recoiling at the sight of his altered face, he decided to reverse course. There was a stage where I might have gone a bit too far. I didn't recognize it as me, he told People, adding that Eric's reaction made him instantly stop. Experts weighed in too. Cosmetic specialists speculated that Cowell had overdone filler and lifts, and the unnatural tightness had made his face look plasticky. But Simon didn't respond with excuses. He said he had a moment of reckoning with his own reflection and chose authenticity. Enough was enough. There is no filler in my face at all now. Zero, he later announced. Instead, he began focusing on healthy eating and drinking tons of water. These trials, from grave injury, facial regret, to feeling vulnerability, pulled him from celebrity invincibility to relatable humanity. He now views every scar, every therapy session, every early morning Pilates routine as a reminder that he's no longer bulletproof, and for him, that's totally okay. Simon's transformation wasn't just physical. The spine surgery taught him gratitude, the cosmetic regrets taught him humility, and seeing his son's reaction taught him to let go of vanity. Today he rides again, less recklessly, more carefully, but also more intentionally. I'm still going to stay on my bike. I'm obsessed with these things, he shared. He shared what keeps him on the right track, a rebuilt mindset, one that values health, presence, and authenticity over all the glitz he once amassed. But perhaps the most profound change in Simon Cowell is how he now defines success. It's no longer measured by chart-topping ratings or ruthless critiques. It's in the quiet moments with his son, the ability to rise from bed without pain, and the choice to walk away from perfection in favor of being real. Where he once cultivated fear in contestants and commanded the spotlight with bravado, today he leads with vulnerability, and that, in itself, may be his most powerful performance yet. Simon Cowell's deepest grief after the loss of Liam Payne. When news broke in October 2024 that Liam Payne, one of Simon Cowell's most cherished protégés, had tragically fallen from a hotel balcony in Buenos Aires, the entertainment world was left in stunned silence. But for Simon, this felt unlike any career setback. It felt like losing a son. In an extraordinary show of grief, he abruptly paused filming on Britain's Got Talent, halting auditions to honor Liam's memory. An indication of how deeply he was affected by the loss. On Instagram, Cowell shared a public tribute that laid bare his pain. He wrote, "You never really know how you feel about someone until a moment like this happens. Liam, I am truly devastated, heartbroken, and I feel empty. I have met your son. He has your smile and that twinkle in his eyes. You were kind, funny, sweet, thoughtful, talented, humble, focused. You mean so much to me, and I'll cherish forever how you had the ability to make me laugh." Simon traveled to Buckinghamshire to attend Liam's funeral, visibly overcome by emotion. Photographs capturing his tears beside Liam's devastated family spoke volumes. This was no display of media spectacle, but raw human mourning. For Simon, Liam's passing unleashed a flood of grief from past losses. Simon's parents have both passed away, each death a deeply painful chapter in his life. Now, watching Liam die so young, Simon felt those old wounds open again. It hit me like a second wave. I knew exactly where I'd been before, he shared quietly with friends. Amid his grief, Simon made a deliberate retreat from public life, postponing public appearances, canceling interviews, and flying into solitude along the Malibu coastline where he'd found solace after other tragedies. During this time, he devoted himself to evenings at home with his son Eric, treasuring each laugh, storytime moment, and bedtime lullaby. Friends report he clung to these routines fiercely, like they were the only things holding him steady. Even as he returned to the Britain's Got Talent stage weeks later, the difference was palpable. Cowell's remarks retained their trademark clarity, but the edge had softened, and compassion now weaved through his critiques. Viewers noticed a gentler tone, moments of hesitation, and at times, visible tears. The man once known for his ruthless dismissal now showed compassion and empathy, proving that loss could temper arrogance. This emotional transformation didn't just resonate with audiences. Even Liam's fans publicly acknowledged Cowell's visible pain, stating he appeared completely devastated and that it felt like Simon was one of them. The comment underlined how the industry and fandom saw his grief as deeply genuine. More than script, performance, or persona, Simon's sorrow revealed the softer man beneath. He began seeing contestants through a parent's lens, sometimes pulling them aside, offering words of encouragement, or staying after filming to mentor them personally. It wasn't just empathy for loss, it was a purposeful shift toward people over power, feelings over flash. Liam's passing, while devastating, marked a pivotal evolution for Cowell. He describes it as a wake-up call when I thought I'd seen it all. He has said publicly that nothing, not fame or fortune, can shield you from pain. But pain can also guide you toward a better focus, sincerity, family, and presence. Simon's tears spoke of vulnerability rarely seen from media moguls, yet the message was clear. Humanity outweighs headlines. No longer just a judge or a brand, Simon Cowell now stands as a father and empath. A leader carved through tragedy and reforged in empathy. Through grief, he found grace. And it's that grace that may define the next chapter of his public life. As he continues to heal, Simon Cowell has reportedly begun supporting a mental health initiative in Liam's name, focusing on young artists battling depression and addiction. Insiders say the move was inspired by the private struggles Liam once confided in him. If true, this act adds one more layer to Simon's ongoing transformation. Not just a tribute, but a legacy of protection for the next generation of talent. Cultivating the next generation of dreamers. In the quieter corridors of Simon Cowell's influence, far removed from flashing cameras and red carpets, Simon has found unexpected fulfillment in nurturing raw, undiscovered talent in overlooked places. While his televised competitions once pulled in hopefuls from across the globe, he's now taking a more personal, grassroots approach, quietly funding creative spaces and programs aimed at unlocking artistic potential in kids who otherwise wouldn't stand a chance. This isn't just about music. Simon has come to recognize that creativity in all its forms can be a lifeline for young people, especially those from broken systems or economically disadvantaged backgrounds. In recent years, he's supported pilot programs that offer free music production workshops, acting classes, and writing labs in inner-city neighborhoods. These aren't PR moves or tax write-offs. They're designed to give kids real tools, mentors, and resources, regardless of whether they ever make it to a stage or studio. One London-based youth center shared how Simon Cowell quietly donated equipment and sponsored weekly art sessions under the radar. He didn't want credit, a staff member noted. He just said, "Let the kids create." In another case, he backed a mobile studio project that brought sound equipment to remote schools in Wales and Northern England, making it possible for rural teens to write, record, and even release original music. These efforts may not trend online, but their impact is deeply felt. It's not lost on Cowell that many of the kids he helps will never be chart toppers or social media stars. That, he said, is kind of the point. The goal isn't to manufacture fame. It's to spark joy, confidence, and voice. He's become a believer in process over product. It's a full-circle moment for someone who once scouted polished acts to now be cheering for messy, beautiful beginnings. There's also a therapeutic layer to this work. Creative expression, especially for trauma-affected youth, offers more than fun. It's a release. Simon Cowell's collaborations now often include mental health counselors alongside music mentors. In one program, participants spent the first hour journaling before laying down lyrics. And while Simon wasn't there in person, the team said he listened to the demos and sent a short voice note to the group saying, "Keep going. What you're making matters." For someone long labeled as the man who could crush dreams with a single quip, it's striking to see Simon Cowell so invested in helping young people dream at all. These initiatives show a man whose ambitions have shifted from spectacle to sustainability. One who isn't just asking who's got talent, but who's been denied the chance to even find out. The Simon Cowell of today may not headline entertainment news, but he's writing quieter headlines where it counts. In the lives of the kids who now believe their ideas, their voices, and their stories are worth sharing. And maybe that's where Cowell's greatest legacy will grow. Not in million-dollar franchises, but in one struggling teen picking up a pen and thinking, "Why not me?" Simon Cowell's life beyond fame and fortune. After weathering heartbreak and physical setbacks, Simon Cowell stands at a new crossroads, one shaped by reflection, philanthropy, and paternal devotion. Gone are the relentless boardroom meetings, the late-night smoke breaks, and the thirst for global domination. In their place strides a man intent on rewriting his story, not as a ruthless mogul, but as a mentor, father, and changemaker whose impact extends far beyond television. Cowell's transformation is most visible in the way he now spends his time. Family takes center stage. Sources say he arrives home in Beverly Hills to luxuriate in family dinners and engage in hands-on parenting with his son, Eric. The focus has shifted from celebrity to small, meaningful moments. Cooking together, storytelling at bedtime, and splashing in the pool. The domesticity is deliberate. Simon once confessed to people that fatherhood has changed everything for him, and that his slowing down was intentional. No more pushing through fatigue, but prioritizing presence. But Simon's shift isn't purely private. His philanthropic ambitions now guide his professional choices. He's pledged to donate the bulk of his $600 million fortune to children's welfare charities. The causes he supports often reflect his own journey, from funding music education programs to advocating for mental health awareness in kids. "The biggest legacy I can leave isn't what's in my will, it's what I build today," he told Forbes in early 2025. Professionally, Cowell still retains ties to the franchises he created, but under new terms. He now judges only select seasons of America's Got Talent and Britain's Got Talent, and partners with boutique production outfits to develop content that champions social good rather than chase viewership records. According to Variety, these projects include programs spotlighting underserved communities in music and performance. Cowell serves as both producer and mentor, hands-on yet behind the scenes, enabling him to remain influential while respecting his personal boundaries. His public image has softened in tandem with these life changes. Even his famed scowl has been tempered by laughter lines, a proof of hard lessons learned and shared smiles. His interviews in 2024 and 2025 show a man more comfortable with introspection, regularly discussing the importance of vulnerability. He told GQ magazine, "I'm not someone I used to be. I'm not chasing ratings, I'm chasing meaning." Simon's investment in sustainable living also reflects his desire for transformation. During a Malibu beach cleanup in early 2025, he appeared alongside his son at an environmental awareness event, picking up trash and talking to local media about greener practices in television production. On CNN, He emphasized that legacy isn't about buildings or cars. It's about the world we leave to our children. What stands out most is Simon's integrity. After declaring his intent to leave none of his wealth to Eric, he followed through, but not to distance his son, but to empower him. "Eric has to make his own way," Simon told the son. "I want him to find purpose, not rely on a check." This decision reflects lessons Stoic philosophers preach. Wealth can corrupt. Character is built through challenge. As he nears 65, Simon Cowell stands at a turning point. His empire remains, but it's no longer his identity. He now defines success through family connections, meaningful work, and sustained kindness. His scars, emotional, physical, moral, are not hidden. They form the outline of a legacy reimagined, one where vulnerability is strength and giving is greater than taking. In a world that once rivaled him to the top of every chart, Simon's next triumph may be the quieter, deeper one, a life lived with purpose, passion, and humility. More than just a reinvention, Simon Cowell's current chapter feels like redemption, a quiet, graceful pivot toward lasting significance. Whether he's mentoring rising talents behind the scenes, advocating for a greener industry, or simply being present at home, Simon has traded the glare of the spotlight for the glow of personal fulfillment. His story now resonates not with the roar of crowds, but with the steadier rhythm of a man who finally learned to listen to others, to his family, and to himself. Simon Cowell's story isn't just about redemption, it's about reinvention. From a sharp-tongued reality mogul to a devoted father and silent force for good, he reminds us that even the most ironclad personas can melt into something more meaningful. He's not trying to reclaim his crown, he's trading it for a compass, guiding others through creativity, compassion, and character. If you found Simon's transformation as inspiring as we did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another deep dive into the untold stories behind the icons. Drop us a comment and let us know whether you prefer the old Simon or the new one. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this new version of him. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.